Yes, Vibe by Water TV. So listen, so we're gonna do a football inspired reaction. You know what I mean? This one really particularly is for my American man them out there who maybe don't know too much about football or soccer. Get the fuck out of it, it's football. You know what I mean? So there's just this clip that very old clip, but it's a legendary clip of Mr. Jose Mourinho. Jose Mourinho, if you don't know who that is, you know what I mean, legendary Portuguese manager, formerly managed Real Madrid, Chelsea, Inter Milan, Roma, you name it, Man United, Tottenham, everything. Yeah. So yeah, he's very well known as being very, very successful as a manager, but also being a huge personality in the football world, and just being someone who can he ruffles feathers, let's put it like that. Honest talker, he talks his mind, you get me? He's not afraid to go at whether it's the referees or officials or fellow club managers, even his own players. He don't give a fuck. He will go for you if he feels like it's just. So many years ago, when he was kind of struggling in his second term, so he had been the Chelsea manager and then he came back several years later to take over Chelsea again, and he had won the league and he was successful again. But then after a year or two, it just kind of started to go to shit and he started to struggle. And he was losing tons of games, and Chelsea, who was typically towards the top, if not 1 or 2 in the league, they fell down to like 14th or something. They was really struggling, and he ended up getting sacked that season. And I can imagine for Chelsea that was a decision that, you know what I mean, it didn't go down too well, but he was really, really struggling and the team was struggling, so they had to kind of pull the trigger and make a decision to sack him. But yeah, during that season they had a particular game where they struggled, and I think they went on to lose that game, and that was a game of significance because, as I say, not too long after that he ended up being sacked. But with that said, he ended up doing a press conference, right? So I'm sure it's the same in other sports, but you know, you got to do your post-match interview, which is directly after the game, like literally maybe 15 or 20 minutes after you come off the pitch. Put the camera in your face, put the microphone in your face, and you got to talk that talk and obviously analyse and assess the game. He basically went on to do a rant of epic proportions. So we're going to get into that rant, and I'm going to show you kind of that and kind of what went down that day, and you know what I mean, get my laughs in. Me, I'm not a Chelsea man, of course. I could never be. Fuck Chelsea, but you know what I mean. This is a particular rant that was very, very funny at the time. So let me get my laughs in, and let's check it out now, and we'll react to it for you guys. And yeah, as I say, this is more particularly for the people who maybe not too aware about football and kind of why there is the huge following of football and why we love the game and it's the best sport in the world. But yeah, we're not going to actually see no football. This is just the post-match interview. So let's get into it. Jose Mourinho, 7-minute rant. Let's go.
Commiserations. What did you make of your team's performance today?
Look, I think you know me, and I think I don't run away from responsibilities. I think, first of all, I want to say that...
I think, when he says I think, you know he's coming, you know he's on some shit. I think, and he takes a pause, and then as soon as that happens, just know the strap is off safety. He's going for it. So yeah. He's like... Because and the funny thing about him is he tries to hold back. You can tell, like, he tries to be kind of, you know, what do they call it? PC, let's say. He tries, but he just can't. Because it's just something in him that's just like, I have to just tell it as it is. You know, a lot of other managers, they're a lot more conservative and they toe the line a bit, but he tries to do that game, and as he's got older, he's got better at that, if I'm going to be honest, but yeah, he's not the best at it.
Because we are in such a bad moment, I think you shouldn't be afraid to be also honest, because when we are in the top, I understand that there is quite a big pleasure in put us down. But when you are so down, I think it's time to be a little bit honest, and to say clearly the referees are afraid to give decisions.
So we have to be a little bit honest. The referees, you know what I mean? In the build-up, we was all thinking he's going to come out and say, my players have been shit, or they're not playing for me, or we're struggling because X, Y, and Z. He was like, the referees are afraid to give decisions for Chelsea.
It's for Chelsea. The result 1-1 is a huge penalty. And once more, we don't get. And A penalty is a crucial moment in the game. With the
I want you to bear in mind. I want you guys to bear in mind. This is one question that the interviewers asked him, right? One question. The rest is just him. So typically they ask you, you know what I mean, you give your answer, 30 seconds, cliche answer, and you move on to the next question. Maybe they want to ask you 6, 7, 8 questions. But bear in mind, this is one question, yeah?
Not 1-1. And I repeat, if the FA wants to punish me, they can punish me. They don't punish other managers, they punish me. It's not a problem for me. But
See, this is what we call supreme head loss. His head was gone. He was gone. He was like, you know, fuck all of this, I don't care. My head's gone. Finished.
To repeat, because I think my players deserve it, Chelsea fans deserve it. I am a Chelsea fan too, and I want to say it again, referees are afraid to give decisions for Chelsea. Why? Because when they give, there is always a question mark from you, there is always a question, there is always a critic. So we are always punished. We are punished because Diego Costa is suspended with images. In other matches we see the same thing and doesn't happen. Clear penalties are not given, and with us.
It's like Mourinho against the world. I know that's his mentality. He always rolls with this like, it's me and my team against the world. Everyone hates us. That's kind of what channels him. That's what gets him going. That's what builds the fire in him to get his team to perform. So it's kind of funny because this was like one of the first times in his career we had seen it flip, where that energy didn't work for his team and they weren't really, you know what I mean, it wasn't allowing them to perform, and they actually went in the opposite direction and started fucking struggling heavily, and they were closer to what we call the relegation zone, which is where if you finish in the bottom 3 of the league, you go down, you get demoted to the next league. I don't know if that happens in your sports in America, I'm not really sure, but yeah, like, he was closer to that than he was to the top, which is very, very, very unique. That was a very unique position for him to be in, because that's not something typically he had been. You know what I mean? He's used to being at the very, very, very top. So you can tell my man's not handling it well, not at all by any stretch.
Is one, and even in the Champions League, in a match you lose to 1, even in the Champions League, which is a game with not 3 officials but with 5, we are not giving a penalty in the last minute, and this penalty in this game today is more than crucial. Do you know why? First negative thing that happened, the team collapsed. The team mentally, psychologically, the team is unbelievable down. It looks like good players are bad players, and the first half was a game where we didn't show our quality, but we were in control.
I ain't here for your questions, I'm here to talk. I'm going to talk my talk. I don't want to hear none of your questions. One question. Bear in mind, we're still on that one question, and he's just going, bro.
Mistake,
man.
Lack of concentration, 1 goal, and you arrive at half-time. In normal circumstances, you come to the second half and you do your game. I told the players at half-time, no panic, we are not losing 4-0, it's 1-1, no panic. The team comes with a good spirit, we have a penalty, and the penalty is a giant penalty, and he was afraid to give, like everybody else is afraid to give. So no penalty, and after that the team lost even more confidence, and you know that their second goal is an individual mistake, their third goal is another individual mistakes, and the team mentally, they try, but they collapse. They are in such a low moment that they collapse. I can also know what you are thinking, what you are saying in the...
Listen, I know what you're thinking, I know what you're saying, I know what's happening. Don't ask me no questions, I already know. I'm going to answer all your questions before you even ask them. That's what the energy my man was on.
In studio, what people imagine, what is going to happen, what is not going to happen. I want to let it clear. 1, I don't run away. 2, if the club wants to sack me, they
One thing you got to say about this brother, he's a fighting man for sure. He's a fighting man. He ain't here for none of the bullshit. He will come out swinging. And I have to respect that. You can't not respect that. Even with him being a rival manager. You know what I mean? At the time.
They have to sack me because I'm not running away from my responsibility, from my team.
Applying pressure to the board.
From my...
Say, if you want this situation to change, come from my head, because I ain't walking away. You have to respect it.
Conviction, I don't know if it's the right word, that be champion is obviously very, very difficult because the distance is considerably, but I am more than convinced that we finish top 4, and when the season is so bad, if we finish...
They did not finish top 4.
Is okay. Third, even more important than the first and the second, I think this is a crucial moment in the history of this club. Do you know why? Because if the club sacks me, they sack the best manager that this club has.
Blind pressure!
And secondly, the message is again the message of bad results, the manager is guilty. And this is the message that not just his players, but the other ones before.
The other ones where kind of the subtext, he's basically saying, listen, don't get it twisted, I'm doing what I always do. The players just ain't on it. That's what he's saying in the subtext, isn't it, if you pick it up. But no, this time he didn't decide to go for his players like that, but you get me? He's basically saying that it can't always be the manager's fault, innit? Like, what I want for these players, these are the same players that won me the league last year and were doing bits. And now the next year, what, they're on holiday or something? Where's their minds at? How come they can't play, they can't string 2 passes together? So that's what he's on.
They got during a decade. I think this is a moment for everybody to assume responsibilities. I assume my responsibilities. I think the players should assume their responsibilities. There are other people in the club that they should also assume their responsibilities.
Coming for everyone.
And to stick together. And this is what I want. What I want. The players, they still have to play until the end of the season with the gold champion thing in their shirt. And I want to work as always. I consider myself, that I have a big self-esteem and a big ego. I consider myself the best. Living the worst period of my career, the worst results of my career. Doing that as a professional hurts me a lot. Doing that at Chelsea hurts me twice, because it hurts me as a professional and hurts me because...
You can tell that man was really hurt. And he said it a couple of times here, because he really thought he was that guy and that man was invincible. Like, you know what I mean? Even the top managers in the history of football, Alex Ferguson, you get me, whoever you might want to name, Arsenal, everyone goes through tough times, innit? You go through them periods where your team just, in the evolution of your team, transitional periods, lack of funding, lack of, you get me, players leaving, you go through difficult moments, and it's about how you now rebrand yourself and restructure your team and your coaching style to come back through it and be able to perform again on the bigger stages. But as I say, for this guy, this was one of the first times he had really been feeling that strain and that pressure of, you get me, when the kitchen is hot, a man's sweating and he's just thinking, nah, like, what going? Like, why isn't shit coming together? And man was just flustered, man. It's fucked. Yeah, but it was good to see for the rest of us, because it was like, yeah, this guy, everything's not always rosy, bro. Like, let me see how you handle these difficult moments. You get me? And this was it. Because
I like this club very, very much, and it was because of that I came back. So I want to carry on.
And the thing about it, it's funny enough, probably since this moment, his career kind of hit a somewhat of a downward trajectory. And it's only natural, because, yeah, if you look at my man's accolades, it was really only on a heavy incline for a long period. But the best part of 10 years up to this point, he was just on an upward incline. So he was always going to come back down at some point. I didn't imagine he thought it was going to be at this period in time, this would have been 2014 maybe, 2013, I think 2014. But yeah, here we see it, you get me. All good things do come to an end.
Carry on, no doubt, and I assume my responsibilities, but I think it's time for everybody to assume their responsibilities, because when you go down to so many individual mistakes and fear to play, they have their responsibilities. Are players that are performing really, really bad individually. I cannot come here and say you and you and you and you is not my job, but I think it's clear. I think it's clear that we are being punished by too many individual mistakes. And as I was saying, sadness brings sadness. Bad results, they attract bad results. The first mistake is just the first, because after comes another one. This team needs to finish the first half winning 2-3-0, with the fears disappearing, coming to the second half and play with the free brain.
One question. I can't stress this enough. The interviewer hasn't asked him another question. This guy has just been going straight. Just been going. because that's how much under the pressure this guy felt. He was like, I ain't gonna let you ask me nothing. Your one question is enough. I'm gonna give you everything you want, and I'm gonna walk off, which is fair enough.
Free spirit. This is what this team needs, and unfortunately for them, this is not happening. And again, I repeat. So I want to make it clear again, because I don't want to be offensive. I don't want to be non-polite. I don't want to put in cause the dignity of the people. But I repeat, the referees, they're afraid to give us decisions.
After all of that, you said, people need to handle their responsibilities, the board, the players, the coaching staff, the manager, things ain't coming together, but we're sure we're going to finish in the top 4 and we need to stick together, and then he finishes, but the referees, it's still your fault. Man deflected in every which way and then came back full circle and said, but you, the refs, you man have done this to me. Yeah, man, it's mad.
And when you are top, you want to see people come down.
He's protecting his players. He's trying to
give us a
protect
break
his players.
And be honest and be loyal with us, because the team deserves that, and the penalty is clear, and 2-1 is a complete different story. Okay, thank you.
He was like, and I'm out. Oh man, so that was Jose Mourinho, 7-minute rant. So yeah, man. I just wanted to do something a little bit different for you guys. Let me show you a bit more about my personality and a bit more about the things that I'm into and actually, what I be doing out here. But Jose Mourinho, 7-minute rant. We'll probably get into some similar-ish content in the future. But as you know, Vibe by Water TV. Like, comment, and subscribe as always. See you for the next one. Take care, peace and love, and we out. Ciao.